Okay. Hey. Okay, let's do this. Bringing my tea in over here. Today's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. So, my first full week of doing these lives every day. So, this has been good. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed seeing Creator Mom on here. So, but the point for me was to get comfortable talking to the camera so I could feel comfortable talking about other yoga concepts. And so I picked meditation. And I'll have to chant and stuff. Oh, good. Good. Oh, this will be a good one for you. So hum will be a good one for you. So this is just me really just trying to get comfortable with the camera. When I started, I thought about doing this YouTube thing for a very years. Like people say, I waited a year. I waited years. I've thought about this for a long time because I wanted to be able to to teach yoga from anywhere. And then when COVID happened, I had a whole bunch of people. I was managing a yoga studio at the time, and we had to go online. So I wanted I wanted to go online at that time, but then I got scared, and I was helping so many other people figure this whole online thing out, along with a friend of mine. And so I just put myself on the back burner. And, I wasn't even remotely ready to be on camera. And I don't think anybody's ever ready to be on camera, really. Oh, thank you for saying that. Thank you. Because I have, you know, you know, you know how self-critical we all can be. So I am really, since I decided to bite the bullet and start going online, which was October of last year. I've loved it way more than I thought I would. So I'm just slowly letting it grow, and it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it. So it's only been since like March that I've been consistently posting on my channel, but I decided to give it a full year and then see where it's at. So here's my teacup. So next week, I didn't look at the schedule to see what we're doing next week, but it's going to be good. And I will be posting the thumbnails for that today or over the weekend. So you'll get to see a week ahead what we're going to be doing. But today will be, we're going to talk about So Hum, which is a breath, and it's also a mantra. And the beautiful thing about it is that the mantra, it's a very powerful mantra because it's understanding that we are not our thoughts. So we are not, we've talked about it a little bit this week. Our thoughts happen. So we have all these thoughts, and some of them might be higher conscious thoughts, but a lot of your thoughts are just your brain, your physical brain that you got doing its thing. It's learning its lessons. It's judging situations, good or bad, to help you maneuver in this world. It's a tool that you have that is yours. When you die, you don't get to keep it. It's not you. It's your brain. It's part of the physical synopsis of your brain. So we What happens in life, though, is we begin to identify with the brain to the point where we mistake that voice in our head as ourself. So what we are working on, not everybody has this task in their life, because not everybody can get there, and that's okay, because everybody's here for different reasons. Um, and but for those that are here to discern that voice and figure out that that voice is not them, and that there is an observer behind the voice. That voice is not talking, it's not talking outward, nobody can hear it. It's talking to you. Or my voice is talking to me. It's talking directly to me. So it's talking to, who's it talking to? It's talking to my attention, my consciousness, what's behind all of this, what animates my body. So without me, without the me, there would be no body. The body would be dead. It would not be here. So the me, the life force in me, that's me. The thoughts, the body, this body, even though I can mistake this body for me as well, I can look in the mirror and be thinking it looks great. I can think it looks disgusting, whatever. None of that's me. This is not me. This is the body I was given to maneuver the world in while I'm here. So I think it's an illusion we often always are going in and out of. We remember it, and then we forget. And when we forget, that's when we start to feel distressed, depressed, anxious. And then when we remember, we go, oh, because then all of those things that we're getting really stressed about, all of a sudden are really not all that important, because we are just observing. We're here to observe life folding before us. So hum is to remind you of that. So what it means is, hum means I am. So means that. I am that. I am that. I am not my brain. I am not my body. I am not the things that I own. I am not a yoga mat. Like we can see the duality when it's outside of us. I can see that I'm not a yoga mat. I can see that I'm not this tea. It's mine. I own it right now while, I'm on this plane. I own this cup. It belongs to me. But it's not me. I know that it's not me. What I forget is this meat suit that I'm wearing is not me either. So we want to remember that we are much more than a meat suit and a brain, which is really gross. It's really gross if you put it that way, but we're a lot more than this body. And without the life inside this body it starts to decay. Without our life force in it, our body starts to decay. So, and it actually starts to decay anyway, let's be honest. It just decays a whole lot quicker without our life force in it. Because as we get older, our body peaks and then it starts to kind of disintegrate. So it's a temporary form, but we are not temporary forms. We are infinite forms. And so hum is to remind us of our infinite form. So one of the things, when I think about it, I've thought about it, like if you really think about it on the most deepest level, the breath is the reason why we're always going to the breath is because you cannot breathe without that life force in you. You don't breathe without it. It's not there. Your breath is the closest symbol to what life force is that you can have. So is your inhale, hum is your exhale. So it's supposed to sound somewhat like your breath. So if you think about it when you breathe, it does sound a little like so hum. It does sound on its own without us even doing anything. It sounds like so hum. So when you say it in your mind, you're mirroring your breath. So you are becoming, you are syncing the mind with the breath. So that's the goal. So hum, you can hear chants of it. People do chant it out loud, and we'll do a little bit of that. But it's really powerful to do it inside, which is what we're going to end up doing. So we're just going to start. Now, if you can't chant it out loud because, you've got something going on, that's okay, because this is an internal chant. This is a great one to do. Also, you can really literally do this doing anything. You chant it in your mind. Nobody has to know. You can chant it driving your car. You can chant it, standing in line at the supermarket. It can bring you right to where you are in the present moment at any time. So it's a very powerful but easy chant to remember. So just the hard part is to remember to do it. So when you're feeling like burdened, it's good to step away from those burdens because they're not as real as you think they are. We make our burdens way more than they are. Most burdens, and I know most burdens are things that handle themselves. If you just step back and let them be handled, they just kind of handle themselves. Like 99.9. Everything out, the 0.1%, you got to, nudge it in some direction. But otherwise, they're not yours to solve. So we're going to just start out with just saying, I'm going to say so and hum. You just inhale and exhale with the so, and then inhale with the so, exhale with the hum. So I'll start. So hum. So hum. So hum. Okay, so there's the idea. That's you're lengthening the sound. The so hum. And with the M sound at the end of hum, it just makes it so you can lengthen that exhale as long as you need it to be. So now we're going to do this inside. So we're going to sit up tall. And because so hum is a really grounding meditation, palms down. And we're just going to really ground your sits bones, close your eyes, relax the shoulders. Now just restrict the throat just very slightly, like you're doing that Ujjayi breath, the first breath we did this week. So you can hear the so and the hum before we start doing it in our mind. Listen to the breath really close. And work on softening a little bit. Now, on your next inhale, just say so in the mind. And then exhale the hum. Keep going. Just keep doing so hum. Let's do 10 more rounds of so hum. Three more rounds. One more. And just let your breath come to normal. Keep the eyes closed. I am that I am. I'm the space between the thoughts. I am the breath. I am the inhale. I am the exhale. I am that I am. And just open the eyes. So it takes a lot to try to explain who we are because it's not really explainable. We have ideas on what that is, and people who experience it, if you've experienced it, it's hard to describe. That's why we're always finding different ways, and people talk about it in all these different ways, because it's hard. It's a concept that's interestingly hard to understand. But somebody did explain to me that there's that when you're thinking, and then if you've ever had the mind go quiet, even for a moment, a glorious moment, that's where you are. The space between the thoughts. And understanding that meditation, the goal isn't to quiet the mind, because we can't. The mind is designed to chatter. The goal might be for some enlightenment, but I always think like a lot of times enlightenment can end up being like an ego trip. And so forget enlightenment. You might get there, you might not. But even if you got there, your ego would pull you out of it so fast. So you have to transcend the ego at some point. But what you want to do is find those quiet spaces between the thoughts, because that is where you are. That is where you are. You're not your personality. You're not your physical body. You're not what you think. You're not even the trauma that's happened to you. The trauma that's happened to you is an experience that you've had, that your spiritual side has had, but it is just part of your experience. So you're here to have those experiences. We are here to have those experiences. We're here to have the good and the bad. So I always say I had my ex-mother-in-law one time, she said to me, she wished her kids never had to go through anything bad. And I thought about it because it just hit me weird. And I realized that I didn't want that for my kids, because I thought about, how do you know you've had a good pizza? How do you know if you had the best dang pizza you've ever had? How do you know that it's great? And because you have had mediocre pizza, you've had crappy pizza, you've had a crappy meal. You know good food because you've had crummy food. So you can't appreciate the good without there being some things that are bad. Unfortunately, that's kind of this whole duality, how this planet works. So it just helps us to learn not to focus on the negative, because that's what we do. We feel slighted by the negative. The negative shouldn't exist. But without it, we could not enjoy the greatest things in our lives. We couldn't. Without trash, there isn't treasure. Without, hate, there isn't love. There's love, there's hate. They're two sides of the same coin. So we're always feeling hate. Hopefully, when you get to the point where that hate is really consuming you, it makes you want to move away from it. And that's what it does. And so we all go through things. I've yet to meet one person that went through life and their life was absolutely perfect and didn't think they were the odd one out. I've never met anybody that hasn't. There was a long time ago, I was in the hospital with my son. My son had an accident and it was bad. It was really bad. And this girl who worked there, I went to high school with her, and she was popular, super popular, and she recognized me. And I don't know why she was talking to me about this, because my life was in shambles at that time. My son's in the hospital for a pretty bad accident that he had. And she's telling me how she felt like the odd man out in the popular group. in high school. And I thought, wow, it was sort of a gift in a way because I thought, wow, she felt like the odd man out. I felt like the odd man out. And so it made me realize in that moment, we all feel that way. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I agree because I have two sons and it is scary to watch them go through things. And honestly, it was scary to watch them go through things as kids. Um, but when they grow up, I don't know how old your kids are, but when they grow up, um, in some ways it's even scarier because you really don't have any control at all. Not that you did when they were kids either, but when they get older, my son went through a divorce and I don't know if I cried more than he did. But I did cry. He told me about it and I went home. I stayed strong for him. And then I got in my car and drove home, cried all the way home because I was sad that he had to go through that. Um, but he's turned his life, since then things have gotten a lot better for him. But it's hard. It's hard watching your kids go through stuff. It's really hard. And I think loving them as much as you can, that's where we get to learn the other lesson that I think we learn in life is how to love someone unconditionally and what that's like is loving our children no matter what, you know. Because I definitely, that's the most perfect love I've ever felt is my love for them. And I know it's not perfect, but I try to make it as perfect as I know how to make it on this plane of existence. So, yeah, Sohum got me contemplating a lot about that. And today I've been watching a lot of those near death experience videos on YouTube, which has been kind of eye opening. Makes me think about a lot of things. And my mom passed away a couple years ago. So it's helping me sort of process that whole thing in a new light. And that's been a really good thing. And that I'm just here to really get out there and love people, figure out how to love them beyond judgment, which is, the hardest part of living this life. So anyway, I'm not totally sure what our next week is going to be. I hope that you can come. I hope Creator Mom can come. But if not, they'll be posted, and that'll be it. And I'll have the thumbnails up, like I said, over the weekend, and we'll see you at 3:30 next week. Bye.